It's a good thing that and it's also lucky that President Biden has a dog, but because he's losing friends within his own party while facing the midterm combat from Republicans. With the surge in inflation, it has forced Biden to seek ways to generate more oil and natural gas production to bring down gasoline prices well above the $4 per gallon, along with heat and electricity costs that have been soaring as well. Biden began his presidency with the most aggressive environmental agenda ever in the White House, which included a pathway to a no carbon power sector by the year 2035. Um, so far, Biden has accomplished few of his climate goals with the little sign of a breakthrough anytime this year. Meanwhile, the climate activists who have strongly supported Biden are now charging him with abandoning the cause and leaving Biden so unpopular on both sides of the energy and climate debate. Late in the day on the Friday before Easter, the Biden administration said it would restart auctions for leases to drill on public land. As a presidential candidate in 2020, Biden vowed to ban new drilling on public land, and a week after he took office, he did so, pending a review of the issue. Several states filed suit, and Biden backed off with lease auctions on again and then up again for the last several months based on court actions. Um, on April 15th, with many people away for the Easter weekend, the Biden administration said it would up leases on about 144,000 acres of federal lands and offshore waterways, which is a clear break with Biden's no drilling stance as a candidate. But the area open to drilling will be just a portion of what it could have been, and the government will boost the royalty rate drillers, and they must pay about by 50%. Biden is trying to please everyone by offering drillers something rather than nothing, and also while boosting the fees they must pay for mining on public property. Um, but he's satisfying nobody. New leases for future projects won't do anything to lower the energy prices that we're seeing today, and oil executives say the royalty increase could raise costs rather than lower them. They're frustrated that Biden is asking foreign countries such as Saudi Arabia to pump out more oil instead of creating incentives for American companies to produce more. The environmentalists, meanwhile, accused Biden of selling out to the industry, which is what Trump did. The Center for Biological Diversity said the plan to move forward with drilling leases is a reckless failure of climate policy. The Sierra Club published objections to the Biden move from a number of regional activists, including one who pleaded, "How much more death, destruction, and devastation do we have to see before this administration takes action?" Yeah, exactly. That's what I saw with Trump. They do realize that Joe Biden is the president, not Donald Trump. And what's a guy to do? Biden seems sincere about his effort to move the nation off carbon and to address the global warming and to try to mitigate the damage. Biden is also becoming a poster boy for the facile campaign promises that can't survive a collision with reality. And Biden's green energy push is not the reason oil and gas prices are high and voters are angry. The correlation of the two reveals a major weakness of the green energy push. There may be no smooth pathway for moving from carbon to renewables without sharp price hikes that could punish consumers and turn them against the whole transition. When the progressive Democrats launched the Green New Deal back in 2019, oil prices were around $52 a barrel, and gas was a comfortable $2.35 per gallon. Energy was cheap because U.S. drillers had overproduced for years, sacrificing profitability for growth. Now, green energy advocates never really had to count for a costly transition from carbon to renewables because carbon energy prices were low while the cost of renewables was failing, and making it seem as if one form of the inexpensive energy would eventually replace another. Biden never endorsed the sweeping provisions of the Green New Deal, which would have made much of the U.S. economy in the name of with the social justice and with the heavy government hand in the power and transportation sector. Instead, Biden has backed the goal of a rapid energy transition with less disruption than the Green New Deal would have caused. Now, like many climate activists, however, Biden didn't foresee what would happen if the carbon energy we still depend on today soared in price, as it is during the last 6 months, and we're still 30 years away from having enough renewable energy to replace this. This is how Biden now finds himself pursuing two incompatible goals: promoting a transition to green energy while temporarily seeking more fossil fuels to help bring down prices today. What nobody seems to have foreseen is the changing business model in the oil and gas industry. where several years of terrible financial returns combined with worldwide pressure to abandon fossil fuels, it has changed the whole equation of drilling. Lenders and investors now want higher returns in shorter periods of time, which is not always possible, but basically, but it means less money spent on new capacity and it's more returned via dividends and stock buybacks. From the perspective of green energy, this should be terrific news. But when fossil fuels are more expensive, and like with wind, solar, and other renewables becoming more attractive as an alternative, and investors have a stronger incentive to back development projects, when one group of producers in an industry decline to expand capacity, it's a chance for competitors to grab up and basically grab their share of the market. What Biden and other green energy advocates can't say is that the high fossil fuel costs could be the best way to speed the green energy transition. Urban progressives who use public transportation might not give a fuck, but drivers in the suburbs and vast rural areas don't want to hear it. Nobody ever told them that they were going to bear an outsized share of the cost of transitioning to green energy, and nobody said that there should be a fucking cost period. Biden is now stuck trying to fucking explain, and along with his poor approval rating, as we're seeing, it reveals it's not going well. In a coherent world, this could be better. Economists overwhelmingly favor a carbon tax that would make fossil fuels increasingly expensive over time, with rebates going to consumers to offset the higher costs. But no politician apparently is willing to stand behind the carbon tax and battle to battle the agitprop that's sure to be trained on anything or anybody daring to raise energy tax. Now, Democrats may yet muster a legislative package with green energy incentives later on this year, but similar to what was in the Build Back Better legislation that died last December, if Biden gets the chance to sign such a bill, it would restore some of his credibility with environmentalists now reeling with disappointment. But Democrats are still struggling with the thinnest possible majority in the Senate and an overpacked agenda that can't seem to get off the fucking ground. But it's worth asking if Biden should pick a side instead of offering breadcrumbs to drillers and environmentalists and leaving everybody unhappy. So if you like the video, you can give the video a like and subscribe to my channel, RBW King. You can also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when a new video comes out. And if you want to support my work even further, you can go to the About section. You can donate to my Patreon link, which you can find in the About section of YouTube. And just for as little as a few bucks a month, you can help donate to the channel, and it can help the channel go a long way. And thanks for listening.